Well, heart disease is the #1 killer nationwide, an average of 1 death every 37 seconds in Kent County. Of course, it accounts for about 33% of all deaths. Let's talk about it and cut to the chase of prevention. Representing the American Heart Association from Spectrum Health, Marla Nitzwicki. Marla, glad you're here. And one who survived a heart attack, but he's gone on to bigger and better things, ultra athlete Jim Oldfield. Jim, hello to you, and of course
Hello.
the Mended Hearts Inc. on your t-shirt. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about the seriousness of this disease. Marlo, what falls under heart disease?
Well, heart disease, heart attacks, and that's where a clot or a piece of plaque gets stuck or lodged in an artery. You can have dysrhythmias or irregular heartbeats. You can have what we call, which is probably #1, is heart failure, and that's just an overall failure of the heart to beat appropriately.
Men and women involved with this diagnosis?
Men and women, and women, it's one of the kept secrets out there, in that it's a men's disease. It is not. It affects women as much as it does men.
Is there a #1 cause?
#1 cause, actually, is probably lifestyle. Our lifestyles have affected heart for quite a while now. It's kind of catching up with us, things we didn't know when we were younger that we did, and as the population ages, it's becoming to affect us now. And then also family history. Real strong connection between heart disease and family history. So lifestyle, family history, those are the two greatest.
Jim, can you share your story?
Sure. I fall into that category of lifestyle. Prior to my heart attack in 2003, I was like most people. I just ate what I wanted, didn't worry about weight, didn't worry about exercise, and one morning I woke up into a heart attack. So once I got into the Spectrum system through Blodgett at the time, 2003, my wife and I, Deb, we both decided that we're going to change our lives. That really hurt. You don't want to do heart attacks. I did with a triple bypass surgery. After a few days through Blodgett, I got to go home, and from that moment on, we changed our lifestyle forever.
And Marla, correct me if I'm wrong, but many do not survive their heart attacks. Jim, very lucky.
Jim is very lucky, and in particular, women usually do not survive their first events, but Jim's a very lucky survivor.
How is heart disease normally treated?
Normally, depending on how the patient presents, there's a couple ways. Actually, there's probably about 3 ways. Medication would be one. The second one would be maybe stenting the coronary arteries, if appropriate. And if those 2 options are not deemed appropriate at that time, surgery, open heart surgery.
Jim, did you smoke before this?
I smoked for 37 years.
Let's touch on that. Marla.
Smoking is probably one of the largest contributors to coronary artery disease, and also sedentary lifestyle, which again feeds into it.
Yeah. Jim, you talked about the steps that you were told to take. Take me through those, please.
Yeah, basically after starting into recovery, Spectrum has a system where they support you afterwards. So in other words, I had like a visiting nurse that came in to check with Deb and myself, and then they provide programs such as nutrition, some exercise, things like that. I went into I was prescribed cardiac rehab as well through Blodgett, and those guys helped me out immensely to get me started, get to walk again, get to know my heart rate. I had no clue what a heart rate monitor was, until that point. So through the nutrition, through the exercise that they started with us, Deb and I just kept going. We just decided that we like this lifestyle, and we'll see what happens. And the races that I started doing in 2005 until now, basically I do those because I can. The first purpose is to keep yourself healthy and fit. Second part is to help others who have been there, and they don't know that you can do this. And then the third is, they have a great time and do some races. They're just a rush.
And we're going to talk about a race, which is more like a walk here in just a second.
Sure.
But why exercise post-heart attack?
Exercising, your heart's a muscle, and the only way to get the muscle back into shape, the way and what it's to be used, is to exercise, is to help it contract and to work that muscle. Obviously under supervision of your medical team initially, and then gradually, as Jim has done, worked up to exercising on a daily basis.
And a real good point there is that through doctor, handling and that. All of my training that I've ever done, ever since we started doing this, I've been monitored one way or the other, either through a cardiologist, through my family doctor, through nurses and things like that, and through, just keeping myself up to date through American Heart Association and Mended Hearts material and things. So it's not like you just like fall into this. You have to work at this.
Every day
Yeah,
is a
you
new
truly
challenge.
do. Every day.
Jim, and if we have time, we'll share more of your stories training for an Ironman, I know, but is an extreme. Is that healthy for Jim to be doing this 2 years after?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Under the guidance of his physicians, as you can see, obviously a picture of health. And he definitely, he's regained probably what you lost during those years of not living as healthy. And, if there's a family history there, keeping you.
There was.
Keeping
Yeah,
your
certainly.
I understand you even got your bride to take a walk with you.
Oh, yeah.
We're like more of a run now, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you would like us to participate in come this September 13th.
As we helped start an organization here, Mended Hearts, through West Michigan. We're a satellite chapter from Pontiac, Michigan. The point is that we start our own team for the American Heart Association, start Heart Walk, and to raise money for them. Mended Hearts is affiliated with American Heart. It behooves me not to help. And all the people that help through them and through Spectrum have helped me, so it's the least I can do is to help do that.
Sure. There is the Start Heart Walk on the 13th of September. Can you go into detail for our viewers?
Basically, if you can either go online, you can get the information, or they have a phone number. I don't have the phone number.
Yes, it's 482-1526.
That you can call, and you can get yourself involved. They'll get you a package, get you going. You can do it. You can start it up quick. You can start with 2 people.
And we all meet that morning of the 13th.
Correct. That morning of the 13th, down at Riverside Park. We encourage everyone to participate. Family members, those who have been afflicted with heart disease or stroke. We like to see the survivors out there walking, as well as the healthcare providers, nurses, physicians. Then the community in general, because everybody at some point in time in their life knows somebody or has been affected with heart disease.
Is there when we talk about, let's talk a little bit about prevention. Obviously kids could and should be starting to participate in these community walks to not only raise funds for the American Heart Association and more, but to also learn the importance of fitness. Of
fitness, diet, of healthy lifestyles, of not smoking, not starting when you're a teenager, smoking, having healthy eating habits in your schools as well as outside of school, exercise, even if it's walking. Walking does wonders for the heart. It does not necessarily have to be running or strenuous exercise, but walking is equally as good.
How about stress? Where does stress play its role? And then, of course, Jim, how are you controlling that in your life now?
Well, my wife helps a lot with that, as far as keeping the stress down a bit. It's how you handle it. It's really, you're going to have stress. There's no way to get through life without having stress. But it's how you deal with it. And I learned over time, however it happened somewhere where I said that, I'm not going to let this affect my health. Things could be bad, but my gosh, it can't be that bad. Get over it. So I work with stress, just as everyone does.
Marla, you recommend a support of a loved one or a family member, or even a support group if we're...
Absolutely. Family members are key to the outcomes and to the survival of our patients. And stress, definitely. Stress has a lot of physiological effects on the body, the blood pressure being key. There is a link between stress and high blood pressure, which ultimately is very hard on the heart.
Obviously, the American Heart Association, its mission to help combat this disease, I would think, through mostly through prevention. And the website for that, again, is
www.americanheart.org.
Always need funds and volunteers for your
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
All comers.
Jim, what are you eating?
Well, I think I had mentioned to someone before, they asked me about, one thing is our grocery bills. We raised 3 sons. They eat a lot. And after they left home and that, Deb and I, when we started getting healthy, we started eating healthy, we noticed our food bill went up just a tad. But basically, it costs a little more up front, but in the long run, you have so many benefits for it that it's cheap, absolutely cheap.
Your food choices then include?
Just about everything I can get that doesn't have a barcode on it. That's close.
That's a good way to put it, isn't it? Or maybe a fried skin.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it okay to slip every once in a while and have a...
We're humans.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to slip. You know, I'm sure, Jim, you indulge once in a while.
Well, once in a while, of course.
Yeah.
And life is life, you know. You got to enjoy it.
All right, give me the details one more time of the 13th, where you want me to line up for the start.
Riverside Park on Monroe Avenue in Grand Rapids. You can check out the website at www.americanheart.org, and phone number is 482-1526.
And your Ironman is this coming November?
November 1st, I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah.
First Saturday in November.
Yeah.
Do swim, bike, run 140.6 miles.
All right.
And then probably have a milkshake afterwards.
Have a what?
Milkshake
Yeah.
afterwards.
There's
The
that.
indulgence.
There's that splurge. All right, Jim, Marla, thanks so much for your time on behalf of the American Heart Association and the Mended Hearts, Inc. Go get them. Take care.
Thank you.
Here's what's happening this week in West Michigan.